All right, hello everybody. Welcome to our next lesson here. This is sentencing for 2019-2020 objectives and standards. You will be able to explain different sentencing options for crimes. Sorry about my crazy check mark there. And you will be able to explain the purpose of punishments. Take a moment there, preview the standards as well. Trying my best to draw a good square there, but as usual, a little tricky. And our desired result or desired result. Sorry about the dot there. What punishments are used in sentencing? So I want you to be thinking about some of the different punishments that are used in sentencing criminals and those who have been convicted of crimes. So options during sentencing. A judge, let's say judges, sorry, typo there. Judges, try and draw an S there. Judges typically have freedom when sentencing a person convicted of a crime, including the length of time, the punishment, and other considerations such as health. They may also choose from a combination of punishments. So it doesn't have to be one type of punishment. They might choose from one or two or different punishments when doing this. So let me go over some of the different punishments that are out there. A suspended sentence or suspended sentence here. The defendant may serve the punishment later than what was imposed if they commit another crime or violate parole. So this means that kind of like, I don't want to say it's a warning, but people are, kind of given a little bit of a chance to make some changes before they're sentenced. But if they don't change their ways, they will be sentenced. Probation, a person is released and must meet certain conditions, such as having a job or submit to drug testing under the observations of a probation officer. Continued options during sentencing. Home confinement, or this is sometimes known as home arrest. A person is sentenced to live a person is sentenced to their home, I apologize. They may only leave their home for school, work, or medical appointments. A person may be required to wear an electronic monitoring device by a probation officer. I had in the past, my old neighbor actually had that. Not to get too personal, but I know that when they were growing up, they had that for a little bit. A fine, a person may be required to pay money to the government. Restitution, money needs to be paid to the victim or victims of a crime by the person. Work release, a person may work in the community during the day, but must return to the correctional facility at night or on weekends. Imprisonment, this is obviously a person must serve a jail sentence. The crime determines the length of time that must be served, such as a minimum to maximum amount. Could be 10 to 20 years, a minimum of 10 years to a maximum of 20 years. And then the death penalty, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, a penalty given for the most serious crimes and is very controversial. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. Sentencing considerations. There are many considerations that need to be made before sentencing is imposed, such as the woman or the person I was involved in with the jury who was sentenced. I know they considered different things before they sentenced her. Many states authorize a pre-sentence report that includes information such as the defendant's previous criminal history, social and medical information, education and employment background, and then recommended sentencing as well. Okay, this is done, I'm not sure it's by a probation officer, but some type of official that does this. And again, this is to give the judge some more information that helps them make a decision about what the proper sentencing should be. Victims of a crime may also speak or submit a statement to a judge before sentencing, and on the opposite side of that, family and friends of the person who committed the crime may also speak or submit statements in terms of a lesser punishment for their loved one or their friend as well. Sorry about the big check mark there. The purpose of punishment. Okay, sentencing has served different purposes over time. Originally, punishments were used as retribution or to seek revenge on those who had committed crimes and to not give them the help or services that they needed when they got out of jail. Punishments have also been used as a deterrence or to discourage people from committing crimes, such as people know prison's bad, as you probably know. It's not a happy lifestyle, really, so nobody wants to go to jail necessarily, so it's used to deter people from committing crimes so you don't go to jail. Rehabilitation is commonly used to help convicted people change their behavior so they can have a useful and productive life after their sentence. Criminals can overcome their social, educational, and psychological problems to become responsible members of society. You may have seen something like this or heard something like this on TV or somewhere else, that prisoners are being used to train dogs or work with puppies or dogs to help them rehabilitate both the dogs and themselves. This is used commonly a lot of times in prisons. And then another purpose here is incapacitation. And this is used to remove the person convicted of a crime from society and the community. Obviously, the most dangerous of criminals who have been convicted of multiple crimes or are highly dangerous in society are removed from society and quote-unquote locked up. That way they cannot do any more harm or danger or cause any more danger to society. So again, excuse any mistakes there on that side. So understanding parole. Sentences in most states depend whether parole will be granted before the sentence has ended. The release of a convicted person before his or her sentence is over is called parole. Now, sometimes, try and draw a check mark in there. Sometimes a person may be eligible for parole once a minimum sentence is met. Like I said earlier, 10 to 20 years. Let's say a person serves 10 years in prison, and then they're eligible for parole after those 10 years are up. They may be released from prison, but not all the time, okay? Some things have to happen. Okay, just because a person is eligible for parole does not mean they will be released. A prisoner must go before a parole board, kind of like what you see here in this picture, to show that they can be released back into society. So let's say here's our prisoner here, maybe sitting with his lawyer, who is frequently present, and then these would be the parole board people who are hearing and interviewing the prisoner to find out if he or she, or in this case he, in this picture, has made changes to his or her life, maybe continuing education or working a job in prison, that should this person be released from prison as well. And there are both supporters and opponents of parole. Speaking of supporters and opponents, controversy over capital punishment. Known as the death penalty, capital punishment is the most controversial sentence given to defendants. I'm sure many of you have opinions whether you support or oppose this as well. People have been sentenced to death in America since the colonial period. Since then, capital punishment has only been given for the most serious of crimes, such as rape and murder, and then 1977, the United States Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty is an unconstitutional punishment for the crime of rape. So again, most times the death penalty is given for the most heinous or evil crimes, such as murder or things like that. 29 states have the death penalty as a form of punishment as of 2019, and most states that have the death penalty use lethal injection to carry out execution. So again, the person is strapped to a bed type device, they are given an injection in their arm, which I believe stops their heart, stops their breathing, and things like that. Again, you're probably somewhat familiar with this form of punishment. If a person is facing capital punishment for a crime, judges and juries must consider a couple of things. Aggravating circumstances, which are should the person be punished for this crime because it's a most serious crime, and then the mitigating circumstances are should this person be sentenced to a lesser punishment or crime because of what they did. Okay, and sorry that's not on the board there, but aggravating is this crime serious enough for the death penalty? Mitigating is there a lesser crime because of this, or a lesser sentence I should say, because of this crime? Those who oppose capital punishment say that the death penalty is against religious and moral views. Again, I'm sure if you're a supporter of this or opponent of this, you have your own views, but that's just some of those who oppose the death penalty. All right, and our closure here, or the closure, I should say. What punishments are used in sentencing? So again, think about some of the things that are used to sentence people if they've been convicted of a crime, and try to explain what they are. All right, and that'll help you answer your questions. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I hope to talk to y'all soon. And try your best on the questions that follow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.